So, can we stand for the pledge, please? And will you, a nice young man, Boy Scout, lead us?
Yes, sir. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could remain standing as we always do and remember our troops, remember those affected with the pandemic, whether they were sick or even passed away, but lost their jobs and so much more. And our two local folks, Barbara LaFerge and Marge Edwards. Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain public comment on agenda or other. And then we'll do the agenda, but we'll just, we'll go down the line on the agenda. So now's the time to make public comment on any issue you wish, whether it's on the agenda or not. Yes.
So my name is Lieutenant Colonel Diana Louts.
Gary Louts.
We are both residents of Highland Falls and have owned a house at 48 Row Ave, which on the west side is bordered by Mines Avenue. We've been stationed here since the summer of 2017, during the time we purchased the home, and have been working on updating as necessary. We recognize it's a historic neighborhood, and we have grown to love the area, especially access to the amenities of the park, but also to all of the residents in the area, and the community is very tight-knit's a good way to say it. We have our regular neighborly squabbles, but for the most part we stick together when down-tree lines happen and power and everything else that's happened in the area. Recently we have had some issues that have actually been developing since before we owned the house on the retaining wall that is bordering on the west side of our property. And these issues stem from what we can tell primarily due to drainage on Murns Ave. The downhill slope leading from the backside of the Girdley's property to the north, all the way down to these two or three properties south of us, has no drainage capability whatsoever, and the water tends to pile up behind that retaining wall. And then winters after winter, the water that is stuck there freezes, expands. Naturally, the retaining wall is forced over. In March of 2019, if you mind, I have some pictures I can bring to you.
Sure.
Yeah. In March of 2019, we called this the village, and this hole had emerged, and the village subsequently came in and filled in that hole. This was March of that year, and on the property side, so this is from the street level on Murns, this is from the property side. This is the retaining wall looking below at that same time in March of 19. This was last week. You have to take some time to look at it, but you can clearly see that these three stones right here, I believe it's upside down, are like right in here, and there's some holes that happen because of stones that have fallen from that wall down onto our property. And the
When we first bought the property, there were 2 stones that were down. Since that time, there's been about 5 or 6 that have come down, so it's been pretty significant.
And then this is the view just looking down the wall, and there is significant curvature in this particular portion of the wall here, and from the looking from the south side north, you can see that same curvature. And then you can keep those copies. The concern we have is that the drainage issue has been happening over time, and 2, the village came in, filled that hole in, forcing basically more weight on top of an already compromised wall, and accelerating the process for that wall to collapse. There is actually, if you look on the current photo, there are some strawberry beds along the ground at the base of that wall. I've begun the process to move those. It takes time, we both work. But every time I get up underneath that wall, it's a challenge. We're always worried about whether or not that thing is going to collapse on us. And so we're asking the village to please try to take action to fix that wall due to the drainage issues that exist on Murns Ave.
It's also a big safety concern too. You have construction company or construction trucks that come down there. Your own DPW crews come down that street daily, And really, it's only a matter of time with the weight of those trucks, something's gonna happen, and so it becomes a safety issue. Well, we don't wanna have the dump truck or someone's car, God forbid, fall into our property because the retaining wall comes down and the rest of the road comes with it. So, again, it's just like Diana said, there's a lot of concerns here, like, we are concerned about the safety of them, and we'd like it fixed.
I was over there at their property, Jim and Gary, and I was just walking around Mern's when I saw it, and there seems like we tried to fix it by putting a bunch of sandbags because the curb is completely missing, and that the top of the crown of the street on Mern's is about a foot higher than the sidewalk, so the water is really just funneled in the middle of your wall and it's blowing out by
There used to be natural drainage for coming from Mern's down to Real Pond. When we first bought the property, when it would have a torrential downpour, you'd see a pool of water that would pour down on Mern's. Since the gravel and concrete was dumped in that hole twice now, that has ceased. So what I think is happening is all that water and that pressure is now building up to where that wall, it's only a matter of time. Physics is going to take over and gravity's going to come, bam, the wall's going to come down.
I mean, it doesn't look safe. I did go, because I'm not an engineer and didn't know how it worked, I did go there with Todd one afternoon, and he noticed the same thing. And I think he got some bids to see if, the wall definitely is on their property, but their wall is actually holding up our street.
Yes.
So Mern seems to be held up by the wall. At least that's what Todd had told me.
Todd said that.
And there's a number of pieces of infrastructure. I know the natural gas goes to that area. The power lines are on the wires up above and the poles up above. But the natural gas is definitely buried in the street, as is water lines, I think, as well.
Ma'am, so we're in the process of addressing this. We did have our engineer up there more than once. I do have a couple of quotes. Without engineering, the low bidder was, not bidder, the low quote is $35,000 without engineering. Again, we are looking at some type of remedy for this situation, which is a wall that belongs to you, not the village. So however I do this, we have to be careful.
That's correct.
And so we need to talk and figure out how we're going to do this. And that's what we'll do. We've already started that process.
The 35,000 was the low bidder?
Yeah,
Because that's at the threshold of competitive bidding.
yeah.
So,
Todd did say, I spoke to him this afternoon, he said he'd be available if you want to call him from here. So.
No, I'm not going to do that, but our engineer is here 2-3 times a week. He was here today. We have a lot going on, so he's here a lot. There's another wall that he and I went and visited today that is totally on our property, not like this. And that's going to be without, just talking without a quote, another $40,000 to $50,000. So we also have to figure out where we're going to get the money.
I understand.
So we are on this, I just want you to know,
Okay.
okay? And just on a side note, Mern's Avenue from Berry Hill, the top, all the way down to the dead end, we hope will be addressed this year with paving, curbing, all new catch basins.
Okay.
Some of those are collapsed, some of them
Yes.
aren't working. And so that's all going to be done, we hope, this year. It's money that, the reason, I'm not really hesitating with what I just said, but I will say, I can't guarantee, because this is money that came from the federal government to fix that road, that goes to New York State DOT, and they give it to us. They give it to us on their plan, on their calendar. They've had this money for 15, 16 years. I'd like to see if anyone remembers the name Sue Kelly. Karen, you don't remember Sue Kelly, okay? That's amazing that no one in here remembers that she was our congresswoman. And we received this money from her, which was great. But again, DOT is holding it. And just to end this, why they're holding it, they release it when they want. And what happens is, if you fix the problem before they release it, DOT gets to keep the money. They have a big dog in the fight, okay? And I can't let that happen. So we're moving. It's quite an ordeal to make this happen. It's kind of a side thing to your wall. The wall probably has to be fixed first. Okay.
So may I ask a question? So is there anything that we as property owners can do to help New York Department of Transportation release those?
No, I wish I would tell you in a heartbeat. Tell you in a heartbeat. It's scheduled to be released, but there's so many hoops. They have to approve the, what does Todd call it? Not the specs, before the specs. Design. They have to approve the design. They approve the design. Then we have to give them the specific specs. Then they have to approve, and this is our road, not their road.
Right.
And by the way, what's really aggravating is if you look across the street at your neighbor's houses, there are 3 large pipes in their backyard. Now, when I say large, I mean every bit of this that shoot water out onto Mearns Avenue from 9W. That's should be against the law. And it actually is locally. You cannot direct the water from your roof down a downspout and have a ground pipe over to your property line, and therefore the water flows there. That's against the law. That's what they're doing. But I don't want to get off. We're going to address your wall, and you'll know about it.
Okay, thank you. We were asked to let you know we have the same attorney that works with Mr. Gerbley. Gary Bashman, we've retained him and his services to help us unless if there's any legal.
You can do whatever you want to do with an attorney. That's your business.
And we're just letting you know we've signed.
No, that's good. That's very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Thank you. Next. Anyone else? Okay. Okay. That's it. I would like to invite my 4 guests up here today. I'm sure you've talked about how you're going to do this. So, Karen Palella, Chris Ridgway, Sean, if you could put the camera over here for a second. This is about a program that the village has for the last, Chris, 6 months?
Yeah, pretty much.
Called Kitty Haven, where the property owner catches a stray cat, male or female, and comes to Village Hall, not with the cat, but with $25. And then we give you a voucher for $50, and then you take it to Tara, which we have here tonight, and they'll spade and neuter. Now that's a reduced price. You only have to, the resident only has to pay $25. But so that's the gist of the program. But however you want to go forward. It's your time.
If I could stand, and if you don't mind, I'll take off my mask. I am fully vaccinated. It just makes it a little easier to speak. My name is Sophia. I run a small rescue, all-volunteer nonprofit, and we participate in TNR. And Tara asked me to come and speak on their behalf and tell the town what TNR is. So TNR is Trap, Neuter, and Release. It's the most effective and humane way to take care of stray and feral cats. Municipality, you're very lucky that your village has subscribed to this program because a lot don't. It's very progressive and people are joining in, and it's making a big difference with stray and feral cats. Now the program that the village has subscribed to not only allows you to do this with feral cats, but allows you to do it with adoptive cats. And if you went to a local vet to get your cat spayed or neutered, it runs approximately $400. So to get it done for $25 is a bargain. It's a wonderful, wonderful program that you should all really take advantage of and encourage your neighbors and everybody to do that. The other reason to do it is because one female cat can have 4 litters a year of up to 8 cats. Multiply that out and exponentially you'll have up to a village filled with stray cats. The TNR program is you shouldn't be letting go friendly cats. You should only be trap, neuter, and releasing ferals or strays. If they're friendly, you should get them adopted or contact a rescue or somebody so that they could get into a home. But you have access to it for either a feral cat or your own pet. And I'll just show you a little bit about what needs to be done and how the program works. I'll just take it. So this is a trap. It's called a Have a Heart trap. It's very easy to use. So what you would do is you would set this trap in your yard if you see any stray cats. They all work a little bit differently, but basically all the same. And what you do is you push this down, you're going to put bait in the back of the trap. There's a little lever here that the cat would have to step on to get the food, and then it releases the door. So there's a little lever here. You get the door on there, you let the door lean on the little lever, you place food in the back. And the best type of food to put in the back is something as smelly as possible. Sardines, tuna, anything like that is...
And some catnip, because the smell of the catnip is very exciting.
Right, you could do that. Different cats like different things. Sometimes if you can't catch a cat with fish, the other way to get them is with chicken or poultry. Believe it or not, Wendy's burgers or Popeye's chicken has a lot of smell and you can get them like that. So it goes in the back. Again, the cat will go in. They'll step on that plate. It trips the trap, the door shuts, and then now the cat is inside. Cats panic when they're inside and they can injure themselves. They'll run back and forth and they get very frantic. So you have to cover the trap with a towel or a blanket. As soon as you cover the trap, they calm down. It's dark and they're safe. Then what you would do is you would take this trap and you would bring it back to your house. You would go to the town hall. You would purchase for $25 a certificate. And that allows you to take the cat to Tara to be TNR'd. And Tara is, we have some pamphlets that will leave. It's a wonderful organization that provides services at low cost with municipalities that subscribe, and for others as well, but not as inexpensive as it is.
So say where Tara is, Middletown and Monroe.
Right, Middletown and Monroe.
And Newburgh.
And Newburgh, okay. These pamphlets have it on there. So you would take them up there. There are also volunteers that can help drive them if you can't. And also the traps are available to borrow. I hear the village has a couple traps.
We have one.
One, okay. And
Chris has one.
Chris has one, and even Tara has some that you can borrow. You leave a deposit and you get a trap, and then when you return the trap, you get your deposit back. The cat goes to Tara. It's a one-day process. You drop them off in the morning. The cat is spayed if it's a female, neutered if it's a male. They trim their nails, they check their ears, and they give them a rabies shot. And if the cat is feral and going to be re-released, the cat is ear-tipped. They cut the left ear. It's a very small piece of the left ear. It's not painful to the cat. There's no nerves up there. And it lets anybody know. So now you know if you travel around and you see an ear-tipped cat, that cat is meant to be outside. It's not, and it's spayed and neutered and it's vaccinated, so it's safe. And you shouldn't try and really bring it in again or try and rescue it. It's put outside. Once you get it back, you drop it off in the morning. You get it back at night. Males should be held 24 hours before you re-release them. You can leave a male in the trap itself. 24 hours is not a long time to hold. Just after, usually 8 p.m., you put in water and a little food, let them eat. You can put it on a wee pad or something, so that way you don't have to worry about it. Females should be held through at least 3 days. It's like having a cesarean, they have an incision. It's not safe to re-release them that same, 24 hours later. You want to let those stitches heal before they're re-released. These cats are for the feral cats, the cats that you're letting outside. If it's your own pet and you do that, you don't have to have it in a trap, you bring it in a carrier, you bring it in the morning, the same thing, you'll get it back at night. It doesn't get an ear tip, but it will be spayed, neutered, and vaccinated for rabies. And you just have it home and you just let it recoup. There's no re-releasing.
And the females should be, if they're in the home, needs to be not able to climb or jump, because that can be injured as well.
Yeah, you want to try and keep the females quiet as possible. And you leave them in a room. Believe it or not, a bathroom is a good place to let a cat recoup. It might be small, but it's nice and safe and quiet, and you can let them recuperate in there. A feral cat, let's say you catch a female feral and you're going to re-release it, the best thing to do is, you can't keep it 3 days in a trap like this. You release it in a dog crate, and you put food and water and a litter box up front. The cat will go in the back. You keep it covered, let them, you feed them and give them water and just allow them to recuperate for 3 days. And then you re-release them. You re-release them where you found them. You can't re-release them somewhere else. The cat will not know where it is. It'll travel around, and by doing this, it maintains the feral cat population at what it is. It doesn't allow them to breed, it doesn't allow them to grow, and you really want to do that so that you don't have all these stray cats all over the place. And then, once they're spayed and neutered, they don't travel around, they don't spread disease. Not that cats are a big, spreader of disease, they actually aren't. I don't know the statistics in New York, but in New Jersey, where I do a lot of rescue, there have only been 2 cats over 10 years that have had rabies. So cats are not a big, spreader of rabies or any other diseases that people get. But you still want them to be vaccinated and cared for. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Okay, no, go.
Is there an age? I know, like with puppies and stuff, you could get them spayed at a certain time. Next door neighbor, they had kittens from a wild cat. So, is there a certain age?
It's really by weight, so it's safe to.
No bigger than a water bottle, so.
Yeah, that would be too small. Usually 2.5 pounds for a male, 3 pounds for a female. Roughly about at
6
least.
weeks. 6 weeks.
They'll do it at 6 weeks.
Okay.
Wow.
No, that's young.
No, I did.
6 weeks, 2.
Yeah.
And 6 weeks, they're less than 2 pounds.
Yeah, carrots, 3 pounds.
Well, if they're eating that Popeye's chicken, they might be that. Could be
That's a
possible.
good point. 2 pounds, I've heard other vets do 2 pounds, and that's 8 weeks. So that's really stretching it, I think. And that's about the size of your water bottle to get them spayed and neutered. If you find kittens, it's best to catch them early, because you want them to be adoptable. So you want to get them to the vet as soon as possible, so you don't have to put them back outside because they're not feral yet.
Yeah.
So it's always good to be proactive and get those kittens out. Contact a rescue. Rescues will take kittens because they're easily adoptable. You don't want to have them, you don't want to add to the
because
population.
there's quite a bit of kittens they had a litter of, so there was
Right.
quite a bit.
So the mother, if she's not friendly, she can get TNR, be re-released, and then the babies go and find homes, and that ends that cycle. That gets, if they have 4 kittens, that gets 4 cats out of the outside, and only 1 goes outside. When you re-release it, it's nice to have a caregiver, somebody who's gonna provide food and water for that cat. Ideally, that's what you want. Just some neighbor to put out, and you don't leave food out at night because you don't want to attract raccoons and opossums and other things. You leave food out during the day, and you take it in at night, and then the feral cats know to come, and then they leave. Any other questions?
I think like when you're feeding the cats, if you put a plate down, you put it down for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you pick it up, because if you leave the plate there, that's just going to attract more and more cats to that area.
Right. Okay.
Karen?
I would just like to say, if there's any residents, like Gary, if you if you live in a neighborhood that is overrun with stray cats, please call the mayor's office and he'll get in touch with the Kitty Haven volunteers and we can help. And also, if there are any residents out there that might be furloughed or retired or want to also volunteer, it could be as simple as just call the mayor, give him your number, and we'll add you to our roster. And it might just be running the cage up to Walmart on a Monday at 8 in the morning. Someone else might pick it up at 4 p.m. that day. So if you'd like to volunteer, please leave your name with the mayor and let us know what neighborhoods need our help.
And take advantage of this program. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful program. It's so nice to see, you know, a village, a municipality participate in the program. It's a great service for residents. It really helps the community, and it's really doing something positive for the cats.
And I'm available to anyone who needs help in setting up the trap. I will make myself available to help.
What about older residents, if they want to participate in this, but they're older, they can't drive? Is there some way?
Just call the mayor's office and he'll get in touch with the volunteers that we have. And
Okay.
yeah, we'll come and help them. We can bring the trap. They just let us know where the kitties are living and we'll help.
There'll be flyers of Tara, we'll leave them with the town.
If you could leave them with Regina in the back of
Okay.
the red shirt, that's great. Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, did you want to say anything?
I'm good,
Okay,
thank you.
okay.
She said it all.
She did. But last thing I want to say is I thank you, Chris and Karen, for coming to me several months ago. You know I'm an animal lover, so it was right up my alley, if you will. No pun intended. This is a good program, thanks.
Thank you for setting
Thanks.
it up and supporting
Thank you.
them.
Thank you very much.
We'll get this out of your way.
Please feel free to stay and or leave. I know what I would do if I could.
I think we're going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Joe.
you're welcome. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is to approve the following minutes that were written from our May 3, 2021 meeting.
Motion.
Motion by trustee
Second.
Howard and second by trustee Phillips. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, I need authorization to sign paperwork along with Sergeant Torpy for the DWI contract for calendar year 2021, as recommended by Sergeant Torpy. This is a grant that we use. It doesn't cost the village any direct money, and it helps with the situation of drinking. So could I have authorization to sign?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard,
Second.
second by trustee Phillips. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next on the agenda is, again, I need authorization to sign the members' participation agreement with Comp Alliance, which is our workman's comp program, as recommended by the village clerk.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Guerrero. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is on the agenda is authorization for the mayor to sign for the Village of Highland Falls, the New York State DEC annual report that needs to be submitted each year by May 31, 2021 per the recommendation of the village engineer. This is the MS4 program for our storm sewer.
So moved.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Phillips, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, let's see, next. We have a resignation of a part-time police officer effective May 8th, 2021. Officer is Mario Stanisi. If we could accept that, he's actually been ill, so we wish him well.
Accept the resignation with regret.
That's right. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Phillips, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is another resignation from our water plant operator. This also is with regret. He's a great employee. Young man, lives here in the village. Has chosen to leave and work somewhere else, and not that there was anything wrong here. It's always usually about money, and he'll do very well where he's going that way. And that's our water plant operator, Ryan Kresbach. The date is May the 25th, 2021.
Motion?
Motion by trustee Howard. Is there a second? Seconded by trustee Guerrero. All in favor?
Yes.
You know, some people say you have people coming and going, but that's a good sign, because you can't compete with private industry. You can't compete with $35 an hour versus what you're paying here. So when I hear people say, well, you don't keep people, people are going to go. I mean, these are young guys working here, and women. They're going to go where the money is. It has nothing to do with, oh, here we go again. That's just the reality of it. And all villages and towns face it. People are going to leave if they can make more money.
And we will be advertising for a water plant operator.
And on Brian's note, it is hard that we lost somebody, but it is good that our guy, Jack Sibley, is showing these people how to go farther, and then another company is picking them up. It does stink on our end because we're losing a great employee, but it's, you know, it's kudos to Jack and his training also.
We're on, but no voice.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. Should we stay on?
I could either take it off, but we have to record it, obviously.
Okay, I'll leave it the way it is, but there's no voice.
Yeah.
All right. More to follow on the water plant operator. Next on the agenda is for the Highland Falls annual 4th of July Firecracker 5K. Obviously, of course, it was canceled last year because of the pandemic. It'll be on the 4th of July in the morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Sign up is at Memorial Park. They have filled out an event form with insurance, and I would ask that we waive the live entertainment fee of $50. So if you agree with that, that's what you would put that also in your motion.
So moved with the request to waive the fee for live entertainment.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Phillips. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I think the volume's on,
Yes, sir.
from what I just heard.
Okay, good. Okay, next is another event. I'm so happy to see these events coming back because they haven't been here for a year. The Ambulance Corps hosts the Fall Foliage Festival on October the 16th, 2021. We all know that's one of the big events of the year here. Insurance is attached, and like the Firecracker 5K race, they also have a live entertainment fee of $50 that I would ask to be waived.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Guerrero. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. You writing all this down?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What badge is this for?
This is for the communication badge. It's actually the last merit badge I need before I can work towards Eagle.
Great.
Good for you.
You've been here before.
Yes, sir. I
Yeah.
have.
What is your Eagle project?
My Eagle Scout project was fixing up a memorial, a Ward Robinson Memorial. It's a fountain, and it was dedicated to a birder and a naturalist. He enjoyed the environment, and in recent years it sort of fell into disrepair, so I cleaned it up, I fixed up the pathway, I cleaned out the gutters, and I made it a lot nicer
Great.
from what it used to be.
Great. And who is the young lady with you?
This is my mom.
Your mom. You gotta introduce your mom.
This is my mom, Melissa.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna come to firefighters, and the whistle's going off. So we have a recommendation from the fire chief, Steve Suarez, to approve a junior firefighter, Joseph Lennon.
So moved.
Junior fireman. Trustee DeSalvo, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Phillips, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Continuing with the fire department, we have another junior firefighter, Christopher James, pending a physical per the recommendation of Chief Suarez, is asking for approval. Again, the motion should read pending physical.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Seconded by trustee Guerrero, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the chemical bids that we just opened up. As recommended by the Chief Water Plant Operator Jack Sibley and the Chief Wastewater Treatment Plant Operator John Jones. You have the low bidders from 4 different chemical companies. Are yours highlighted? Yeah, those are the low bidders that we should, the motion should read that we buy these chemicals from. We always get them from different, whoever's the low bidder, we always get them from different companies. And these are the same companies that bid every year, I can, Coyne, Jones, so.
Make a motion, we approve the 2021-2022 chemical bids that were had an opening on May 14th, 2021 for the low bids.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, next we had grass cutting contract quotes open, and recommended by the interim street superintendent, John Jones. The low bidder is who we actually have now, which is L&L Property Maintenance out of Fort Montgomery, $13,045. The next highest bid was just shy of $19,000, and then there was the third bid of over $25,000. So the low bid is $13,045.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid.
Trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second, trustee Guerrero, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to set a special meeting. We do this every year. Our calendar year ends May 31. Our budget ends May 31. Our new budget starts June 1. If this will be a meeting to pay bills at the end of our year, end of our fiscal year. Next week, May 26th at 9 a.m. It's a Wednesday morning. I just need 3 people. If all 5 of you make it, great, but I need 3, of course. Wednesday, May 26th at 9 a.m., again, just to pay bills and claims.
Make a motion, bills paid on the 26th.
Okay.
Second.
To have a meeting,
Well,
not
yeah.
to pay the bills.
Have a meeting.
To have a meeting.
I'll have a meeting, pay the bills.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have 3 people there, that's the
Yeah.
nature. Okay.
Wednesday, May 26th at 9 a.m. downstairs. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next I have bills and claims for the fiscal year 2020-2021, $122,774.74.
They will review today at 3 o'clock.
Yep, they were.
Process. Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Have it? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Let me go through this a little bit here. So, you all received a letter from a resident on 13 Drew about a wall. I went there today with the engineer, and I'm asking the village clerk to write the homeowner a letter that giving her a time and a date that's good for her, that she can meet with John Jones and go over what she sees and what he's going to be able to do with this wall. It's a very short wall. It's not like your wall, and so that's the correspondence that'll go back. This wall is ours. Excuse me. Part of this wall is ours where the damage is. So everyone realizes that. We have a survey downstairs. There's a letter here that you all had in your box too about a water bill. There was a fire here at this residence on Church Street, and of course when there's a major fire, which we don't get many of, thank God, the gas company comes and shuts down the gas right then, right when the fire is going on. The electric company comes and does the same thing. We don't, of course, shut the water off because obviously it's needed for the fire. We wait, we don't shut the water off. But on January, the fire was on November the 19th. On January 2, the water department received a call from the tenant to ask that the water be shut off. On that day, the water was shut off. And actually, that's a little bit of a favor because it's the property owner that has to call in, and this was a tenant. But it was done, and it was done correctly, and so the response back from the village clerk's office will be the same.
The same as it always is to these types of requests, is that what you mean?
The response back is that everything was done correctly, and when the call came in, we did shut it off. Yeah. Okay. Sidewalks. So let's talk about, first of all, the great job that this contractor is doing. Tonight, I need approval or not to get the section of sidewalk from Cousins Avenue down to coming past Sacred Heart, and then also coming past the Methodist Church to where they all started this sidewalk improvement 2 weeks ago. You received this financial statement, if you will, from the engineer, and there's money here that hasn't been spent that would cover the additional sidewalks. But it should be made tonight because once they're done, which they are almost done, they're going to be leaving, and to mobilize, it'll cost us money. So I'd like to get this approved tonight, so before they leave, they do that next section. And that's that. So, any comments or a motion to do the sidewalks? Again, the money is here.
I'll make the motion, because it's gonna look kind of silly to have everything done and then you're done that way and nothing's there. It doesn't look the same, so I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second the motion, Brian.
Thank you.
Not to exceed 95?
Yeah, we can say, you can say that. You can say that. You can say that. So, are you okay, Brian, with that?
Yeah, fine.
Gina, do you have it?
Not to exceed 95,000.
Correct. From Cousins Avenue to the end of the Methodist Church south.
And that was already in the budget? Was already planned out, it's just kind of extra?
I think,
Is that what it is?
yeah.
Well, there's money there to cover it.
Yeah. So I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. I'll notify Todd tonight, and he can notify ATEC.
Can I just do a point of order? I did not, did you vote? Or did you abstain?
No.
I didn't hear you.
No, I voted yes.
Okay.
Okay. Tonight, I would be somewhere else if I didn't have this meeting. Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center, our Assemblyman Colin Smith is honoring women of distinction, and one of the ladies is Linda Green, a resident of the Village of Holland Falls, and so deserved. So congratulations to her, and thank you to our Assemblyman. I want to point out all the work that we've been doing on Main Street last year and this year. The road has been paved from Thayer Gate to Mountain Avenue. New sidewalks from Thayer Gate to Mountain Avenue. Trees have been installed at the north end. This week we pick up trees for the south end. The flowers are stunning. Every day, so many people over the last couple of days have been talking about the geraniums that are hanging from the antique streetlights. They look really, really nice. All new poles, painted black. Striping has started, and crosswalks will be painted on the north end and the south end. So I'm very happy about the progress that the village has made on Main Street, and of course will continue.
And Art Walk.
The art walk is beautiful. I see some pieces. What did they do, get moved? There was like a few of them in a row.
There's one missing, is that the one you're talking about?
No. Okay.
I mean, they're all the same as how they were installed when they took out today. They had an issue with it.
Okay. Yeah, originally they thought maybe it was vandalism, but I think it's not.
That's what
Okay.
the police department thought.
Good.
But we are going to look at cameras for buses twice to north, because when we were looking today, there's nothing there to show, so we need to do that.
I want to put a plug in for the ambulance corps. Beside the plug is not, of course, is to praise them. They deserve our praise every day. But what they need, they're in desperate need of drivers. So you don't have to be medically inclined. You don't have to know how to do all the things that EMTs and other folks know how to do down there. Thank God. They're looking for drivers. So if anyone is interested, see anyone in the ambulance corps and they'll tell you how to apply or what it entails. Again, it's driving. So. Brian?
Yeah, the community gardens look great. Beautification has done a nice job, and Vision has done a nice job with the flowers. GPW is going to paint inside the gazebo, the floor, and the benches. So I just want to thank all those people who volunteer and get out there and make the village look as good as it does. That's it.
I do. Aaron Falk, he's not here tonight, but he asked me to mention this. It's about the senior center. And apparently in February and a few months before that, there was talk about turning the senior center into a community center, but we can't do it because of the grant that we had received. So he would like to turn it into a proper senior center open Monday through Friday, and that he would move his office in there, running it as a senior center, and the town would even pay the rent of $600. Is that true, Mr. King? Because he wanted me to bring it up for discussion tonight. I've never met Aaron, by the way. I don't even know.
Yes, the issue is that the time frame that you're talking about, the mayor was just in discussions with the supervisor and the town board about the possibility of doing a community center. But as you know, you just alluded to that, unfortunately that wasn't able to happen because of some county stipulations that goes with the grant. During that time that we were discussing this agreement, proposing an agreement, at the town level, what we did is draft up what we thought could work. And part of that was we would like to cover the utilities and the and whatever else we could do. And we found that we had about $600 a month for it in the budget. And we talked to my colleagues on the board, we got support, and we proposed that to the mayor. I think during that time, he may have sent it to his lawyers for their review, but we never got to a full-blown agreement. And it probably wouldn't have mattered because now we found out later that it couldn't be done anyway, according to the county, if I'm not mistaken.
Very correct.
Yeah.
What you just said.
It couldn't be turned into a community center, but what he's proposing now is to turn it into 100% senior center as it is, with him running it.
That's correct. That's what we all wanted. If I'm not mistaken, there was a email that came from county on 6 May that came from to the mayor, then to the mayor, to the supervisor, that said something along the lines that the recreation and the dial bus could not be moved into the building. I haven't seen that personally. I don't know, but that's what's been reported to me.
I have, and it says as long as you don't change the use, if you keep it as a senior center, that it's okay. But
well, as far as we're concerned at the town level, we've approved for Aaron as the recreation director and Colleen as the transportation or dial bus director to be moved into the senior center to do work specific to senior citizens. We've approved that at the board. So now the other half of that is you all.
Right.
So 2 things. Number 1, we did give the agreement to our attorney. Again, as I told you this morning, it was a little lopsided because the town attorney did it. But that's what happens. Now the village attorney, and 2 or 3 times you will come up with it, and that's exactly what I told you all this morning. But even before that, as you said, moving the rec office there, according to the email, that wouldn't be allowed. Now, if Aaron is going to be the senior citizen coordinator only, it'll work. But if he's going to be the recreation director, I need to get approval. You see, I'm the CEO of this community, and if we misuse the funds, if we misuse the purpose of why we were given $200,000, which was totally to purchase the building, then that's not going to be good for the village. So if anyone's proposing that Aaron Falk become the senior citizen coordinator or senior citizen whatever director or whatever word you want to use, that may be allowed in that building.
Yeah,
but not a recreation director.
And we're not proposing that because he has a job unless he's going to quit his job.
Listen, this is a repeat for you. You and I talked about this morning. I'm just putting out what we said. And I agree, and I appreciate you coming, and everything that you said was spot on. Spot on. So, you know, the question for someone to ask someone at the town is he going to be a senior director or a recreation director? And that'll tell us what we can do and what we can't do.
He can be both. I mean, I'm a doctor and I'm also a trustee, right? So he can be a recreation director for the town and be the senior citizen coordinator for the village.
Well, we like to think so, if the rules allow.
Yeah,
So,
that's
so,
like-
so what I had
Sounds
said
good.
was that the recreation piece, if anybody else can chime in, usually happens through online. People sign up for these courses, they don't come into the town hall building. They go onto the computer, or they call. So what we think could happen is he could execute the duties of the senior citizen person, and then simultaneously, through technology, execute his duties as a recreation director.
Elise, is that possible?
Well,
Yeah.
to the extent that any work is done that is not directly related to seniors, I think that creates a vulnerability. And I think the penalty would be giving money back.
That's
So-
not, I can't allow that to happen.
And I did look at the agreement, it was very one-sided, but then I thought we weren't going forward, so I.
Well, we weren't, because
Yeah,
as Ty
so
said,
I can,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
I can make my comments.
Yeah.
The agreement would have to be very specific, that no other activities except activities
right,
for the seniors.
right.
So if he's spending 3 hours a day on seniors and 2 hours or 3 hours a day on.
Or 30 minutes.
Or any time, you know, doing work not related to senior
Right.
recreation, I think that could be a problem.
So maybe I can end it this way. Would someone from the town give us a job description for Aaron if he was to use the building?
Yes.
I think that's fair to ask, and we'll take it from there.
Does the town have a senior coordinator?
Yes,
Who is it?
that is the center. It's been contracted to do senior coordinations.
We do the activities for everyone now.
But is there an actual director, or you just, we're just, it's a,
Volunteer.
no, because I think they pay for it, but I mean, is it something that is just farmed out? Is that like, did
Yeah,
it used to
so-
be an individual?
It
And
did.
then
So the first iteration, you know, because I don't know if they ever had a position like that prior to me being on the board. So I was the person that proposed to the board to hire a senior coordinator. The first one was Dr. Matthews. Upon her departure, then we got a proposal from the center, and we looked at that and said, okay, the center as an entity has a staff of people to include volunteers. So we thought that that group of people could deliver more services than that one person did. So far, we've been accurate. They've been doing a great job.
Dan Molina is doing it, and then the board of directors get involved in it.
The Senior Citizen Center at 15 Drew Avenue, my opinion, needs a senior citizen director, a senior citizen coordinator. Someone that's going to be there from 10 to 4. Someone,
I agree.
you know. Now, I think a lot of us agree, then becomes the question, who pays?
That's right.
That's where Aaron comes in, because he seems like he wants to volunteer to do that.
Well,
Not get
I mean, he
extra
got a
wages,
job
but-
too. You know, he gets
Yeah.
paid taxpayer money to do
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah. It's not over and above, that's his job, yeah.
So maybe he can do that.
So
for a
please,
couple of
please, give us a job description of what he will do in that building. Okay, we're kind of past public comment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this.
Only way I can see it working really, based off what you've described as the parameters, that we could try to meet you in the middle by saying, okay, Aaron, you could go as part of your duties, because part of recreation is also including the senior citizens.
Yeah, yeah.
So we could say, part of your day is over there, from X hour to X hour, and that's all you do.
And then where does he go back down there?
If you're telling me he can't even get on a computer
Nah.
and register people in that building, then we would have to say the other part of his day is over here in the town hall.
I get clarification, but I think, Mary Jane?
At what point can you do whatever you want with the building?
We received email, we received 2 emails. The first email came and said that we couldn't have anything in there but senior activities, and it talked about 10 years later, the possibility, the question became from the email, is it 10 years from the date of the award, or is it 10 years from the date of signing the contract with the Knights of Columbus? When does the 10 years start, and when did the 10 years end? No big deal with that, it just became questions. This email that was sent to me from the county raised more questions than answered, although there are some answers in here, but it also raised questions. But forget this email, almost forget this email that's dated March the 4th, and you have to go to May 6th. This is May 6th. I'll give you a copy because you're the press. Anyone can have a copy. May 6th, I received an email from the county who was informed by HUD out of Washington, where the money actually came from to the county, to us, saying that you will I'll read it to you if I can find it quick. Basically it says it doesn't know what it said, not basically, what it says is you can never use this building for anything other than what the grant was received until the day that the Community Development Block Grant Program that Orange County runs folds up. So that means forever. I mean, I can't predict the future, but I don't think the Community Development Block Grant Program is ending. Would you say that, Jim?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So this from HUD says you can never repurpose the building.
And 100% of the time,
That's right.
it has to be used for senior activity.
That's right. The rule that the policy that if you're alluding to the policy that we were told several years ago, if the seniors use it for 100 hours a month, we could let the Boy Scouts use it for 20 hours a month.
Right.
Okay? The county is denying that they told us that. Yeah, I'm just telling you.
That's just wrong.
This is why this is so important.
Yeah.
Somebody's actually wanting to volunteer the time so that it becomes a proper senior center and not just staying there
So,
vacant, and the town wants to work with us about it. I think it's a great idea. It's a benefit for all the citizens, to include, of course, the senior citizens. Somebody's wanting to give us their services, pay us some rent. I think it's a great idea. I don't understand why there's not a collaboration, a better partnership between the village and the town. The town seems to be extending that kind of a good collaboration. But it's okay, I'm not going to fall on my sword about this issue.
No.
I'm just bringing up what Aaron is saying.
it's not a question of the town and the village getting along. I've had so many meetings with Ty King and Bob Lizzie and Aaron Falk. No, I told you this morning, no one except over and above Aaron was more excited about what he wanted to do in that building than me. You saw it, I told people, I told Aaron, I told you guys. That's just a fact. It's great, but it's only great if we can do it. So what I need is what his job duties are as recreation director.
Yeah, that will require me to go back to the board on
Yeah.
Monday.
It's easy.
Discuss with not only myself and my one colleague, but the entire board. Can we then modify his duties to give him the opportunity to come here? You used the word volunteer. Again, he worked 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So volunteer to me is after 5.
Yeah. And that's when seniors like myself go to bed. I mean, that's when we go to bed. Just letting you know. Okay.
The only thing I was just thinking about is when there was a senior coordinator, and maybe it fell under recreation, if the town would consider, and I don't want to take away from the center, I'm just trying to figure out how to use the building, right? So if it would fall back under recreation, under the recreation director, as also senior senior activities coordinator, whatever the title is, so that if it's, however you want to measure his time, you know, is 90% of his time town recreation and 10% would be senior activities, then he could maybe use that to schedule things in that building 10% of his time. I don't know, I'm just trying to...
Well, I kind of feel where you're going, and I will tell you that previously what we did, the senior coordinator worked for him. So although she did senior stuff, he as a recreation was the supervisor.
Right.
So I can imagine having
So
If
if
there
that,
was some money that falls out of the sky, another person that goes over there and does what we described.
right.
We need a person there, though.
Yeah.
We really do.
That's what I'm saying, the town's paying something now.
Yeah.
So that's, what- if it still fell under his office, his supervisory office, then he could still participate through that individual, or whatever. I'm just trying to think on how to make it work.
You know, it's been a touchy subject, Jim. Several years ago, I remember we went in multi-generational, where seniors could tutor kids,
Right,
and kids could work with seniors.
right.
Didn't happen.
That was an idea that we had, that we
Didn't
thought
happen.
we could
I'm
bring young
surprised that-
people into
right.
the senior,
Right.
old people, I mean, senior people would love
Easy
to
with
work.
the old people time. There could have been tutoring as well. I believe that it might get so tough that they're gonna say that food pantry isn't just for seniors. Does that mean we're gonna take a food pantry out of this village? I would hope not.
Well, the mayor already addressed that one in our meeting.
Yeah.
At least I don't know. I mean,
The food pantry will stay,
Absolutely.
and as long as it wants to be there. And if there's any kickback from the county, the supervisor and I agreed today that we will go and, if we have to do a sleep-in at the county building, for them to back off. I mean, that's a no,
I'll
that's
go with you.
ridiculous. But it could happen. But right now, no one has said that to me. The food pantry is staying where it is.
My point with it was, it gets really mixed, it's crazy. You can't have this, but you can have this.
Well, that does
You don't have a lot of
sound
stuff for
kind of
kids here
mixed.
either. That's a fact of life. So you can't do multi-generational and do tutoring, or do cooking classes, or have young people coming in, young adolescents to read to people, to talk, just to be there. Well, other places have done it.
I don't know if you're arguing for me or against me. So the food pantry can stay, even though it's not, but Aaron can't do other things outside of senior center activities.
But you want the food pantry there, or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So,
Anyone?
but he can't do 30 minutes of other non-senior activity.
We're gonna-
No, not while he's on,
When
I
you
mean,
want to.
think about it, this is, so we were talking about an issue of, if you hire someone under the civil servant rules, they can't just go off and do volunteer work during the time that they're getting paid to work.
Okay, well, I brought it up, he wanted me to bring it up, so that's good, but it sounds like the variables are very malleable. But I did have other things to follow up on.
In this district to help with this. Is the town in any way, shape, or form, and I don't want this to sound like a targeting, but have we engaged the county legislator for the district to help with this county, dealing with the county? Like,
Yeah, I have, and the word that I got at the time was that the proposal that we had about moving Aaron over there was not prohibited. Now, that was before May 6th, that email that you just sent. That was probably in April, March timeframe. Well, that's a new development. You talk about the HUD just come down and says, hey, this is the rules.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough email. On us. Okay.
All right, so other things, I did want to follow up on the consolidation study. CGR, we signed the agreement, so they're going to start, and we need a steering committee. And I think you did say last time that we were going to form a steering committee.
So CGR, the company that we're bringing in, did receive a notarized signature from me contract late last week. Number two, I told Paul Bishop, who works with CGR, that I would like to have a meeting with the board and the committee. He agreed. We haven't set a date yet because I am waiting on, the supervisor told me that he gave my request that I sent to him for a couple of members, he gave it to Chief Pieri, and he's waiting on Chief Pieri's, a couple names from Chief Pieri. So that's where that's at.
Oh, I thought it was Chief Pieri, Torpy.
I'm telling you what, I can't name people that belong to the town board or town employees. That's why I sent the supervisor a letter. He said he shared that letter with Chief Pieri, and Chief Pieri is supposed to, I'm assuming give him a couple of names, Bob, and then Bob will tell me.
Okay.
That's what I think, how it's.
Which committee is this? I didn't hear you.
Please,
It's part of the consolidation study,
consolidation.
police consolidation.
Okay, I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's how I know it.
Okay, so I did look at the so I know Jim's been saying again, we're gonna do this thing again. We did this so many times already. So I looked at the 1996 study, I looked at the 2017 study, and I was wrong. There was actually, I said there's no conclusion from the 2017 study, but there actually was. There was an entire PowerPoint slide about the conclusion that after 1 year of study, they concluded that police dissolution of the village of Highland Falls, police dissolution would save us so much money, and that it could work out better if the police were dissolved in the village and actually became part of the town police department. I mean, it was a fantastic study. The 1996 study was a committee that was formed, and they also said their conclusion for that 1996 consolidation study was that it would be a great idea for the two police departments to merge.
What was the first study?
2017.
Oh, that, yes, that, if I'm right, and correct me, please, that's the study that basically said hire all part-timers.
Some
I believe.
part-time, no, some part-time.
Okay, I'm
and
gonna have
some
to get the
full-time.
wording out. Let me get the, you know,
That's right.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll look at it.
I think that study also, and I don't, you may be right on the conclusion, but I think that study conclusion was based upon $500,000 or more coming from a state grant that in the study didn't say that it was a competitive grant that we may not qualify for. I think it assumed $500,000 or $1 million in an influx of funds to help offset any type of expense for the transition. Not 100% sure, but I think that's what it was. But as it was stated at a meeting in this room from the fellow who worked for the Department of State, because I actually asked the question, I said, is this money that we keep hearing about, the $500,000 or the $1 million, or I think at one point it was up to $1.5 million of money coming in from the state to do a consolidation of a partial or all of the PD. Finally, after some very simple words I used at the meeting, actually was sitting right there, right where you, that lady's sitting there, and I said, are the grants that we keep hearing about, are they guaranteed dollars? And finally, after I asked it the same way 3 times, we got, no, they're competitive. And then the second thing is out of the pool of money, the big pool of money that the state had at one time, I don't know if they have it now, how many communities have gotten the money? And I don't remember what he said. I think it was less than a half dozen.
I'll pull this study out, but I'll put it in everyone's box. We'll make it.
That was the only thing about that one study that I didn't like, because it was just dependent on,
This grant money?
yeah,
It wasn't. It actually, the conclusions did not take that into account at all. They just kind of, through reduced personal service, health insurance, other costs, retirement liability insurance, staff reductions,
right.
through attrition, right? But nothing about the grant. So that was not actually put in the conclusion as part of the cost savings. In any event, the study, you're right, the study's been done already. So now we're doing another study. This will be the third that I would know of. And I see what you're saying, Jim. Why do we keep doing a study if we keep coming up with a conclusion that police dissolution, consolidation with a town is a great idea with a lot of cost savings? You know, and I tried to reduce our savings just by getting rid of dispatch and going to Orange County 911, $428,000. We wouldn't have to borrow for a street sweeper. We wouldn't have to borrow for a skid steer. We wouldn't have to borrow for a chipper. I mean, that's a lot of money on dispatch when we can get it for free by just dial 911. And maybe giving the police department a secretary to do their secretarial duties. So speaking of 911, I did make an appointment to go to Orange County 911 and take a look at their setup. If anybody wants to go with me, it's going to be next week on Tuesday. I know that you put in the invitation on email. But, you know, it's just, I think, one of those issues that we shouldn't let die, right? Because it's a big savings. It's 25% of the police budget is on dispatch, when 93% of the entire United States is on 911. We are on 845, 446 for 911. Doesn't make sense to spend that kind of money when we can get it for free from Orange County. So that is one of my things. The other thing that I looked at, I think was brought up the last time, is that, you know, that we have a cap on how much the village can save. There's actually no cap on how much the village can save. In fact, our comptroller, New York State comptroller wants us, is wanting us to save money for a lot of our capital projects that need to be improved. So we have to have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and saving for those kinds of projects that we need in the future. I know that the sewer plant, we need a lot of money for the collection system. It's going to cost us millions of dollars for the collection system in Satterley, and Villa Parkway, and the north part of Main Street, because all of our systems are 100 years old. So that's, you don't
I don't know, I don't understand what that whole last part with the sewer. Say that again?
collection system, the distribution, so the sewer system.
Well, there's
In
a
our
problem at the
streets.
north end?
It's 100 years old. We need to plan for it. It needs to be changed out at some point. Satterley Grove, Villa Parkway.
And Dog Park.
And I know this because you make me a liaison to sewer.
Satterley and, where else?
Yeah.
Where?
Villa Parkway. On the Warren and Cragston, I guess we're going to do that as part of the 3.4 million bond resolution that we're going to start. We've actually started engineering plans for it. You know, we've already given approval to start the aerial, the survey, all the mapping. We've already spent quite a bit of money already on engineering. So we're going to move forward and take on another $3.4 million in debt. We have the bond resolution, and it's going to be issued.
So, all right, so just out of curiosity, not to interrupt you, what do you want to raise the water rate to and the sewer rate to start saving?
Oh, actually, we're doing a great job. So
Wow.
with the sewer rent, yeah, with the
I can't
sewer rent,
believe that.
yeah.
That's great.
Oh, well, only because we had a fire. And the insurance
Wow.
money is paying for what Ralph Walters, for the past 3 years, has been putting away $285,000 into the sewer fund, times 3.
Right.
So, and
That's correct.
he was supposed to do that because we already had plans on updating the sewer plant. But then the fire happened, and the insurance money paid for what we were going to update. So the money that he's been saving is now in the sewer fund. So hopefully, we have something close to $1 million. So how much would I
Yeah.
increase the sewer rent by?
Yeah.
Hopefully none, because we've been able to save money.
Okay.
Right? 285 every single year for the past 3 years. That's great. So there is no cap on our savings. It's unlike the school board. Also, the other thing that I discovered, because you had mentioned, you know, Melanie, you have to look at the assets of the village. The assets of the village, not just the expenditures. You know, we have a lot of assets. So I looked at the audit that was done independently last week, and we actually do have a lot of assets. However, where our financial health is not so good. The audit concluded that we're in a $5 million deficit, assets and liabilities. So all the infrastructure we have, everything, and all our expenditures, $5 million. It's been like that for a number of years now and going up. And now we're going to take another $3.4 million in debt. So our financial health is not so good. And I just would like to keep mentioning that because there are ways to save money in this budget. And I keep talking about it, And there's a big chunk sitting there, 25% of the police department budget. It's just on dispatch. We could be saving that money, or we could be looking at police dissolution, which really means the town police department takes over. And that's all I have.
Gary?
That's hard to follow, man.
That's
I only got water, it's hard to follow.
It's okay.
Probably impossible.
From our water we've used from the April 12th to May 12th, we were on an average of 495,000 gallons per day average.
That's right where it should be.
Yes, yep.
With no leaks.
Yes,
That's a
with no
good
leaks.
number.
And we're still, like I said last meeting, we were still running off the overflow from the mountain and everything. We're not really touching Bog Meadow. And Jack's doing a really good job of that. I want to bring up something about Bog Meadow. There was a letter that we received in our mailboxes how it was a mess up there and people up there camping and hiking and, you know, burning fires and everything. Joe sent up Mr. Kresbeck and Mr. Mr. Sibley, and they went up there and they really didn't find a mess up there. So, and I went up there myself, there was really not a mess. They had some logs up there, people were burning fires. But there was no mess up there. I know people go up there, they take their dogs. I take my dog up there when I go walking. I know that people let their dogs jump in the water, but it is what it is. But it is pretty clean up there. I have not seen it being tore up. You know, and they did a nice job cleaning up.
I've asked Torpy also to send up a patrol car on a Saturday afternoon and a Sunday afternoon. Ty, I would like you to go back and have the same thing done. It's actually, it's crazy, it's a town road. And many years ago, I don't know what that means in an exact number, but the town would go up in a patrol car. But I think that has stopped. So I've directed my guys to go up, but it would be good if you guys went up, and this way they're seeing a police car.
Yeah, which area again, Gary?
Bog Meadow.
Bog Meadow.
Lower Bog. Yep.
No, upper Bog.
Upper Bog.
You want to drive all the way to the dam.
Okay.
It's a dirt road, but it's okay.
Yeah, it is accessible with vehicles. And then also came out it's on our website, the drinking water quality report for calendar year 2020. They did a very good job. There was no problems. Everything looked well on there. They just want to reiterate to people out there for security wise and for safety of our village and town personnel that when we have somebody coming up that works for a water treatment plant, they will have an ID to show who they are. If they don't have an ID, they don't have to go in their house. I'm not saying we had any problems whatsoever. It's just in the report, you can just read it. But it's just something to remind people that if they don't have proper credentials, they don't need to come to your house. They can go outside and read the meter, and then that's it. So there is no, like I said, no emergency whatsoever. I'm just putting it out there for everybody to read it. If they don't read it, just to let them know. And as far as Jack Sibley being by himself towards the end of the month up there at the water treatment plant, if he needs help, I talked to John Jones, the superintendent, and then he said that, you know, that they can get help anytime they need down there. So a lot of people were concerned about safety issue with somebody working by themselves. Most times there'll be somebody there with them. So, and that's all I have.
Gina, we need authorization to put an ad out?
We have put an ad out.
Oh, you have put an ad, okay, good. Jim?
Sure. I have the Town of Highlands Building Department report for April 2021. Just hit you with some of the highlights. 16 permit applications were received, 24 permits were issued, 27 certificates of compliance, 23 building permit inspections, 13 advisory violation notices, 6 WAR requests, 37 total physical inspections, and 7,185 total fees collected. That's out of the Town of Highlands Building Department. And just one quick comment on the 2017, is that the year you came up with the study? Yeah. I think that year, or the following year was, what year are we in, 2021?
Yes, sir.
I think the community pretty much rejected that plan. because there was a change in the board, a full change in the board if I'm correct. So I would just advise this board or any trustee that the public has the power, and we should engage the public if we're going to wipe out a whole department and get them involved and engage them and give them the information so that they understand, so that we don't, come on board and suggest that we get rid of a whole department. There are several communities in Orange County that still have this local dispatch. It's not just the 911 usage. You can still dial 911 if you live in the village of Highland Falls. It's that local dispatch that gets you to your call, that gets those emergency services to the call quicker. As you are a doctor, if you don't have oxygen, you don't have this, you don't have that. So there's been situations where it makes a difference. I'm not going to argue back and forth with it, because I think if we're going to talk about dissolving the police department or dissolving the dispatch, because you could save money. We could save money right now. We could just start letting people go. It's easy, because at the end of the day, that's where your meat and potatoes are in any government budget, is man and women power. So if you want to start getting rid of salaries and positions, it's fine, because that's how we can save some money. But you just have to engage the public with that, because there is going to be a reduction in service. There's no question about that whatsoever. And on another quick comment about water and sewer rates and saving money, I guarantee you that if we, as a municipality, have a slew of taxpayer dollars sitting in an account, we will get wrapped for it. I'm a firm believer of that, having been around for a little while. And if we're going to spend $3 million to put in new water lines, sewer is going to be 3 times that amount or more, because we have a gravity-fed system for sewer. So if we're going to have $3 million saved up on the north end section to replace water lines, then that means we're probably going to need $9 to $12 million to replace sewer lines. So I don't know how much of the public money they want us to have in a savings account, but again, maybe we need to engage them. Maybe they want us to have that much in the savings account and not take advantage of historic low interest rates if we were doing sewer, not that we are. So I agree with you, Melanie, and I understand where you are coming from, but I think we need to engage the public more, and as we are up here, sitting up here, and if we don't take advantage of certain things at certain times, and I'm not saying I do not like to borrow money all the time, please do not take that as what I'm saying, but please understand that you're going to have to raise water and sewer rates to keep that type of money in an account for us to do these repairs. It's a 100-plus-year-old village. We have to sometimes fix things as we go, no doubt about it. And it's very hard to plan when a wall collapses. Even if it's a couple of years and you look at it and it's there now, and the boulders flying down the hill down the road later in a year, or depending on how bad the winter is or how much rain you've gotten. So, except for the Mearns Avenue Road, because that money we've been waiting for 16 plus years. So, I agree with you. I understand your frustrations. Believe me, I understand them. But sometimes some things are in baby steps. That's just my opinion.
I hear you, Jim. I do. I really do. And I appreciate all of those comments. And, but I disagree. There are places where we can cut and we can start saving and planning things so that we are not just fixing little holes and actually planning it as a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 15-year plan, just like you would do at home, right? Right, just start planning it, because things break down, and start cutting back on some things that you can cut back on. And I think we can make it work. And then, if we don't have enough, we borrow the rest, of course, yeah. We have to have debt. You're right, but it has to be moderate debt,
Okay,
Anyway.
so I'll end it with this. I keep hearing about planning. Since I've been mayor all these years, that's all we do is plan. We have a 5-year plan in every department, and it's updated every year. Sometimes what they want to do 3 years from now ends up being done 1 year from now, depending on the reason for that. But every department has a 5-year plan. I last week or week before at the department head meeting asked them for an updated one. I gave them a time frame to give it to me, but I just want the residents to know that I and the boards that I've sat with have always done planning, short term and long term. All the time we do it. The second thing is, I'll leave it with this, I agree with Jim, we have to get the public more involved, but I also think that we should let the public know what kind of police department they will have. I do remember a few years ago, it was proposed a part-time department. I'm waiting, I've asked the supervisor, I have to ask him again, because we both get busy, but if it was turned over to the town, what kind of department would it be? That's what I want to know. That's what the public needs to know. Where will the police station be? Will we still have two? Will we need one big one and get rid of the two we have? I don't know. All that, I suspect that a lot of that, if not all of it, could be answered with the CGR report. But the number one issue I want to know about is what kind of department will the village residents have? What kind of department will the village residents receive? What kind of protection will they receive? That's paramount for me. And we'll find out over the next many months. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
No, wait, tomorrow is the school budget.
Yep.
I was out working on that, and some people said, you know, I don't have kids in school anymore. And I said, isn't it great? We don't either. And it's even
pay school taxes.
Yeah, but you gotta pay school taxes. Plus, if you're having new people move in to a community, the first thing they look at is the schools. That's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking anybody to vote one way or the other. I'm just asking everyone to please vote tomorrow. It opens up at 6 o'clock, closes at 9 p.m. at the middle school.
Thank you, Brian, for remembering that. I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved. So moved by Jim. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Gary. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried.